All right, well, our topic for today should be fairly simple. It's going to be multiplying polynomials. We kind of, in all the craziness right there before spring break, we never really did an assignment. So we're going to touch a little bit here on just multiplying polynomials today. And then we'll move on from there as the week goes on. So to kind of give you an idea of what's going to be happening, in eighth grade, we're going to try to make this online learning time as simple as we can for everybody, but still try to move along through some things. Let's say, for example, that I just have 5, and I'm going to multiply that by a minus b. You know this isn't hard. Number right next to parentheses just means multiplication. You know that. So I take 5 times a. That gives me 5a. I do 5 times a negative b. Remember, that's not just minus b. That subtraction sign is also a negative. And that equals negative 5b. I look at 5a minus 5b. I make sure nothing can be combined. No like terms there. So I'm ready to move on. We're going to move along through this pretty quickly. Let's say, for example, that I have x to the power of 3. And I'm going to multiply that by x to the power of 2 minus y to the power of 3. And so I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, first, once again, term right next to parentheses, it's going to mean multiplication. X to the power of 3 multiplied by x to the power of 2. As we know, exponents, as long as they have the same base number, which these two do, x here, all I do is add the two exponents. So it's basically adding 3 plus 2, which is 5. So x to the power of 3 times x to the power of 2 is x to the power of 5. And then what I do is I look at x to the power of 3 multiplied by a negative y to the power of 3. And when I multiply those, x to the power of 3 times a negative y to the power of 3, I get a negative x to the power of 3 y to the power of 3. No like terms, nothing can be combined, so I'm ready to move on. So we look at number 3 here, and let's say that I get something that looks like this. Let's say I have negative 4x, and I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply that by x to the power of 3 plus x minus y to the power of 2. And so it's a little longer problem, but it doesn't change what we do. We still just kind of take things and put them from there. Negative 4x times x to the power of 3. There's no number in front of that variable, so we know what that means. There's a 1 there. We don't put a 1 in front of a variable. You've heard me say that many times. So it's going to be a negative 4. But then, once again, x to the power of 1. Same with exponents. If there's no number as an exponent, it means it's a 1. So it becomes 1 plus 3 becomes x to the power of 4. Then I'm doing negative 4x times a positive x. So once again, it's x to the power of 1, x to the power of 1. It's negative 4 times a positive 1, which is once again going to be negative 4. There's no number there, so it's a 1. A negative times a positive make a negative. X to the power of 1, x to the power of 1. That gives me x to the power of 2. Negative 4x times a negative y to the power of 2. So it's negative 4 times a negative 1, which is going to be a positive 4. There's nothing to combine the x with in the y squared, so it's just x. There's no y number here, so my y to the power of 2 just stays the same. I make sure things are in the order that I want, which they are, descending in alphabetical order, x4, x2, then a combination of xy. And we're looking pretty good there. So to kind of change gears just a little bit, I may get something that looks like this. All right, we're going to go negative 5x y. Sorry, 8th grade, my camera work is not good. I'm envisioning that you're going to give me a hard time about that once we get back to school. 16 x to the power of 2 y to the power of 3. Now here I just have two terms. So I'm just thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Well, so I'm looking here, and I'm thinking, okay, negative 5 times 16. I look at what can be combined. Negative 5 times a positive 16 is going to give me a negative 80. All right, that's not bad. Then x times x squared. So that's x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2 makes x to the power of 3. Y to the power of 1, y to the power of 3, make y to the power of 4. That's not bad. You can handle that. That's not bad at all. All right, let's move right along here. So, let's say I get something that looks like this. All right, we're going to go 7x, and we're going to multiply all that by negative 4x to the power of 2. And then we're going to add, I don't know, 3x to the power of 3. Then we're going to subtract x, y. Then we're going to add y to the power of 2. So we're going to kind of see that there. I'm going to turn that this way, and I'm going to hope that the video does not show it upside down. If it does, I apologize, but we'll go from there. So let me get my parentheses here. So I look at the 7x and the negative 4x. Well, 7 and negative 4 make a negative 28. X to the power of 1, x to the power of 2. That gives me x to the power of 3. 7 and 3 are going to give me a plus 21. X to the power of 1, x to the power of 3 are going to give me x to the power of 4. 7, there's no number there in front of the x, so it's just a 1. 7 times a negative 1 because it's a minus. Remember that minus sign is interchangeable with a negative, so it's going to be negative 7. Okay, and then it's x1 and x1, which is going to give me x squared. Then my y, since there's no y over there, just becomes part of my answer. 7x times a positive y squared is going to give me plus 7x y to the power of 2. Now I look at that and I make sure that that's kind of in the order that I want it to be. I'm looking here at x to the 4 and x to the power of 3. So I'm thinking in the spirit of descending order, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as 21x to the power of 4 minus 28x to the power of 3 minus 7x squared y plus 7xy squared. And I'm going to make that my final answer. You want to make sure you have things in alphabetical order and in descending order. All right, let's look at one more, and then I think we'll have you feeling pretty comfortable. Let's say, for example, that I get 7a to the power of 2, and I'm going to multiply that by 4a to the power of 3 minus 8a to the power of 3. So I'm going to look at that one there. And I say, okay, 7a to the power of 2 times 4a to the power of 3. Well, 7 times 4, that's going to give me 28. a to the power of 2 times a to the power of 3 is going to give me a to the power of 5, because I'm just going to add the 2 and the 3. Positive 7 and a negative 8 gives me a negative 56. And then once again, a to the power of 2 times a to the power of 3 gives me a to the power of 5. Now, if we were in a rush, we would just go and do this problem and we would stop right there. But as 8th graders, we should look at that and realize that those are like terms. 28a to the power of 5 minus 56a to the power of 5, that can be simplified. So it's simply just 28 minus 56, which equals negative 28. And then a to the power of 5. And that is the answer that we want to have. All right, have a great day, 8th grade, and we'll hopefully see some of you during our Zoom session early Monday afternoon. All right, talk to you later.